Hi, everybody. Welcome to SOS Salon Coaching Program. Now, this particular program that I'm sharing with you today is one of the clinics that I do weekly for the coaching clients that are a part of the SOS Salon Coaching Program. So if you'd like to find out more information, you'll have that information in the end, but you could also go to www.sosaloncoaching.com to find out more about it right now. So each and every week, I bring a particular clinic to it, and our coaching clients show up to the clinic to be able to get further information in regards to that particular topic. So let's talk a little bit about the topic that we're going to be sharing today and the framework that the SOS Salon Coaching Program is built around. So today we're going to be sharing the operations clinic, and our title today is Building a Financial Ship That Sails. And in our program of SOS Salon Coaching Program, we have this framework set up to be able to guide clients through their program, which goes from 3 to 6 months. It can be extended, of course, to 9 or 12 months even. But we start out on a 3-month program to be able to do the strategy. Now, the SOS Salon Coaching Program was going to be a year-long program that I had developed in 2019. But with all the changes happening in 2020, I converted it to a 3-month program to be able to work fast, work very strategically, and to be able to help salons get back up and running under these COVID times. So here's the framework that we've put together for the program. So it starts out with the SOMME framework. And what I say is some people are going to be successful and some are not. But if you can trust that this particular framework will guide you to be able to look at all elements of having a successful small business, and then put a focus in those areas that are subcategories of these, to be able to focus in on what's most important to you. Where do you need to put the attention right now, but not also neglecting the other areas that we call the 5 pillars of success. So let's talk about what those are. The first one is sales. And sales, you guys, is everything. It's like, the phrase, all roads lead to Rome. Okay, so if you look at the map of Rome, it's like in the center, and then all roads lead to Rome, right? So it's kind of like with sales. You have to be able to look at all roads that you're putting into place, all the strategies, all the people you're hiring, all of the reasons and the services and the products that you're selling are designed to be able to increase sales, designed to be able to grow your business. So all roads should lead to sales here. Now, and that will certainly create that success. The second pillar is operations, and operations is a very big and broad category here, because it can go from your financials to leadership to systems that you have in place, and we can break those down into many roles. Now, this is the topic we're going to be talking about today, and the topic is going to be more about being able to look at your financials and trust where you are and trust where you're going to go. Okay. The third pillar is mindset. And mindset is really made up of, this whole program is based on what I call the foundation of emotional intelligence. So very strong communicative leadership that guides people, you included, and your team and your clients to successful outcomes and results. Okay. So mindset could be everything with just managing the enormous amount of stress that we are right now during these times, managing employees, managing client concerns, managing, putting systems into place, managing changeover, managing losing stylists, managing updating your software programs. all of that falls into one other category. But the truth is sometimes you just need somebody to talk to be able to get your mindset back in place. Okay. And the fourth pillar is marketing. And of course, marketing is another big category. It includes all of the strategy and the systems that you have in place in order to increase sales. So it ties back into mindset of the consumer. Why would they want to buy from you? Why would they want to visit you? Why would they want to come to you? Operations, setting up those strategies and systems in place with the complete focus of being able to create sales. And then education is the final and fifth pillar. And education is really, if it's you personally, what do you need to know? What can we spend time together on as a coach and client relationship that you need to just get more savvy with? Education could also be, what do you need to bring to your team? Education could also tie into, what are some things that you can teach your clients in order to keep communications up, say via social media, in order to inspire them to want to come back in and have some services or buy some retail that you have to offer. So education, again, falls back into marketing, falls back into mindset, operations, to increase sales. So you guys kind of get the gist there, right? All right, so we're going to talk about, I put this whole SOS program together, and I tied it around very much a boating and a sailing theme. And the reason why I did that is because 3 years ago in 2017, now, first of all, I've always loved the water. I've owned boats in my past. I've always enjoyed being on the water. I've always loved the ocean, but I grew up in Arizona. So, we're pretty much in a desert. There wasn't necessarily a big sailing community going on there. But when I met my fiance, Jeff, he was definitely a big sailor and was very interested in taking opportunities for us to go sailing and for me to learn sailing. And so 2017, we went on a trip to be able to get me sailing certified. And in this sailing certification, I knew nothing. So it was like learning a foreign language in 5 days and then passing several tests that we had to do while on a boat in the water in the Caribbean. So yes, it was all beautiful. Yes, it was all very inspirational. I was excited to be learning something, but it was an overwhelming amount of information that I was by no means prepared for, because I had never sailed a day in my life. And I had no understanding of sailing. I can say the only thing that I had done was maybe did a booze cruise on a catamaran in Hawaii or Mexico, and they would put up the sails. And I remember being really inspired by it, but not having any understanding of it. And certainly not understanding the systems and the language of sailing. But during this 5-day course, which was very tough for me, and it was tough because we were on a monohull, so a lot of the work we had to do was below deck. And I am somebody that needs to see the horizon. So I'm one of those people that if I'm up on the deck and I can see the horizon, I don't get seasick at all. But if I'm below deck and I'm looking down or reading, it's kind of like reading in a car. I get that motion sickness. If the plane is on the ground, still on the runway before we take off, I can't have my head down and read. But the minute we're up in the air, like sailing, okay, I'm fine. I can pretty much do anything in it, and it doesn't bother me. So I struggled a little bit with studying, with taking tests, with reading maps, with understanding the navigation and the logistics of all of this at times during this week. And, sometimes you don't realize how much you learn in a crash course like that until it's all said and done. But at that point, Jeff and I did end up buying a boat, and we spent a year on the Caribbean sailing. We are at this point looking into another boat at this time. And I want to be a very proficient sailor. Now, I'm saying this and sharing this story with you guys because there's some hard parts to understanding how to be able to run a business, just like learning anything new. And there's parts that we enjoy, and then there's parts that we have a tendency to want to neglect. But if you're on a ship on the ocean, there's pretty much no part that you can consider neglecting, because you're not in a fixed object. You're in something that is on the water and is floating, and is, there's direction, there's islands, there's land, there's low water. There's so many things that can go wrong. And I want you to think about your business with these areas of opportunities for you to get super savvy on them and just have a better understanding of how this works. So today we're going to talk about that operational category of one part of this, of the SOMME framework. And what I'm saying here in this operations category is that leadership and momentum can create smooth sailing. Okay, leadership and momentum can create smooth sailing. All right, here's some terms that I'm sure you've said, you know, at some times, or you understand that they might be coming from a sailing or boating environment here. Batten down the hatches. Okay, so in March of 2020, we battened down the hatches. We shut down our country, and good portions of the world shut down too, to be able to kind of get this coronavirus a little bit under control. And I think now that we are 4+ months, 5 months since, you know, the whole shutdown and everything, past it, I think we've all discovered that we need to kind of learn to live with the virus. So, you know, batten down the hatches is saying, you know, we have to protect our business, but at this point now we kind of need to open things back up, and we need to still figure out how to move forward, knowing that we're going into the storm. Okay, knowing that there's still a storm that we're kind of going through. Then there's the expression point of sale. And point of sale is having an understanding of in which direction are you pointing the sail in order to capture the greatest amount of momentum that you can. And I'm going to reference it. I'm going to change the SAIL to SALE. What is your point of sale? What right now is your most profitable opportunity in order to get momentum? So I want you to think about it from that terms. And then of course there's the helm, which on a boat is the steering wheel. It's how you steer the boat. And as a leader of your organization, I want you to really think, how many times are you at the helm? Or how many times are you behind the chair? Or how many times are you behind your front desk? Okay. At what point, and you have to decide what your helm is. Okay. Is your helm being able to be in an office and studying information? Is your helm being in your environment and just playing multiple roles at one time, but not a single role? In other words, working behind the chair, working the front desk. Okay, so think about where your helm is and how much time you need to devote to being behind the steering wheel of your business. Okay. All right, so you've heard this expression, and I'm sure you've used it, you know, even keel. Okay, so the keel is the kind of like the fin on the boat that kind of keeps it balanced. All right, so we reference that as we want to be able to have an even keel. Now, when you're sailing and depending on the direction of the wind, you have the keel to be able to keep you from tipping over. Okay, so it kind of creates that balance for you. There are times that our business is out of balance. We may not have the amount of staff to clients. We may have not enough clients for staff. We may have particular times where we're just slow versus busy. We might have, you know, an influx of a certain type of clients maybe, and not enough diversity of clients to be able to keep our keel even. And so look at it from that point. And then of course there's the really fun part of sailing and in boating is tacking. And tacking is creating a strategy. And honestly, if you guys understand these terms and you can apply them to your business, it makes so much sense to be able to have the success that you want. So if you're going to tack, it means that the wind direction has changed and you need to create a new strategy, or you're going to put up your sails for the first time and you're going to create an opportunity to be able to get your sails up, and you're going to start tacking to create that opportunity to stay with the wind and still get to the destination you want to. Now, for those of you that understand sailing, there's no straight line to getting to a destination. Sometimes it's zigging and zagging and zigging and zagging. And I think in business, it happens a lot that way as well, that you have to zig and zag to get to where you want to go because unexpected things come up. Unexpected circumstances might shift your momentum. And then you have to be able to kind of like look at that strategy of being able to tack again to be able to do that. Now, there's also another term called jibe. Jibing is tacking in a different direction. And so it's like looking at a redirect. A lot of times you could reference a jibe as also being able to create a pattern interrupt. Okay, what do you need to do now? Something's changed. It might have been expected or unexpected. What do you need to do now? And then, of course, there is the term of the main sale. Okay, so this is the main sale in the front that provides a lot of direction. And so I want you to think about what is your main sale in your business. And again, I'm going to reference SAIL to SALE. What is your main sell? Okay. What is the most important thing that you could be putting a lot of attention to in order to keep your sales up, to keep the even keel, to keep things in momentum in there? Okay. And then, of course, there is the Jibe, which is the other sale. And it would be the secondary piece. It's going to help continue to enforce momentum, but it may not be as important as the main sale. And that could be your retail, that could be upgrade services, that could be secondary or tertiary services that you're offering that add income to it, but it's not the priority focus of what your clients are asking for. So there's some fun terms that I want you to think about from boating and sailing to be able to apply to your business and to think about them from a different point of view. All right, so what we're saying is that leadership is a push-pull effort. And I want to be very careful, and I want to preface this a little bit, okay? I'm not saying as a leader that you need to be pushing or pulling anybody. But what I'm saying is, as a leader, if you understand exactly where you're at and you know the direction you want to go, you've navigated your numbers, and so you know where you are going, where you're at, and where you want to go. All right, so you're navigating your numbers to where you're at and where you want to go. I see I've got a is in there, so we're going to duplicate this sentence again. Navigating the numbers is knowing where you are and where you want to be able to go. And sometimes that is a focused strategy push to be able to get people on board, clients, team, in order to move you, in order to create momentum. Now, I think you guys all understand this from a sailing point of view. When the wind hits the sail, it pushes wind into the sail, which pulls the boat along the water. Okay, so sailing is a push-pull approach to it. I just want you to now reference what can you push and pull in order to get momentum going for you. All right. And that means putting together the strategy, deciding on how you're going to navigate where you want to go. Okay. Doesn't mean pushing people or pulling people. It's looking at the strategy as a push-pull and the people you're wanting to engage with. That's how you're going to create a system, and you're going to manage the system, and the people are going to be part of that system in there. Okay. Now, the next part here's your push-pull action for the day. Okay, so for those of you that are my clients, this is the focus we're gonna create in our next one-on-one call. And part of the SOS Salon coaching program is not only group clinics like this, but it's also an opportunity to be able to have one-on-one time with me, so we could look at your strategy personally, your sales personally, your marketing issues and concerns personally. All right. So this next week, we're going to talk a lot about operations on our calls with my one-on-one. And again, for those of you that might be interested in this program, you can go to sosaloncoaching.com and find out a little bit more about it. All right. So I want you to run a report. Okay. I want you to decide what report that is. It might be that you run 3 reports. It might be that you can run one report with multiple distinctions on it to be able to see where you're at. And what I want you to do is I want you to study the numbers. Okay. I want you to look at the highs and I want you to look at the lows. And then I want you to determine what is that average? What is that average that you're looking at in here? And when you look at that average, then you have to be able to determine how many people are meeting the average, how many people are in the high, and how many people are in the low. Now, we've always talked about the 80-20 rule, and I do believe that it's very relevant, but there actually is a different rule, and it's a 40-30-30, okay? So 40-30-30, right? So 40% of your people are probably doing okay. All right. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in business. You'd have to have 40% of them kind of doing the right actions in order to keep you afloat, in order to keep your sales moving and your momentum going. 30% are sometimes on the fence. They could be considered what you are calling your average, okay? 30% are on the fence, or they sit in that average mark, all right? And then the other 30% fall below the average, all right? So then you have to, as a leader, you have to be able to, as a leader, then decide where do you need to spend your attention. Now, you can strategize and put this together for the entire team or the entire customer base, or you can kind of break it down and do a little bit more of a strategy approach to the push-pull to be able to say, is it easier for me to get my bottom 30 up to an average, or is it easier for me to get my middle average up to the high point? Okay. Now, that's just going to depend on what it is you're offering or what momentum you're trying to push forward. All right. So a lot of times you're not looking at the top 40% in one particular area. So let's use this as an example, because we're going to navigate your destination here. Let's say we're talking about pre-booking, and pre-booking should be a pretty important topic in your business right now. And the reason why I say that is because a couple things from an emotional standpoint, okay, mindset standpoint, give people something to look forward to. So pre-book your clients with the intent of giving them something to look forward to, because right now we're not going to very many places. We're not, putting vacations on our calendar or exciting things on our weekends. Okay. We're kind of like staying at home, not doing much right now for safety reasons, but also because it makes sense to do that. So give your clients a reason to be able to look forward to something. Now, we're coming towards the end of summer and we're working our way into fall. So if you look at their next appointment, 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to want to pre-book them, and you're going to suggest something that's exciting for them. Like, you know what, we're coming to the end of summer next time you're here. Did you want to be looking at some lowlights and going a little bit deeper with your color as we get into fall and change it up a little bit? Or we talked about the conditioning treatment. I think once summer's over with and maybe you're not hanging out by your pool quite as much, I think we should really consider getting your hair in a very healthy condition and this next treatment, and to be able to do our deep conditioning service or our serum service or whatever it is that you're offering. Okay. Give them something to look forward to with the opportunity to upsell them. That's a mindset. It's also a marketing approach in there as well. And so the pre-booking part, from another perspective, from an operational perspective, is to be able to predict where your business is going. Okay, so if you've got a pretty high percentage of pre-booking on your books, then you kind of know where you're at moving forward into the future, and that gives you an opportunity to be able to have new clients come on, or to be able to determine, do I need to hire more staff at this point, based on my pre-booking percentage. Okay. Now, what's a good pre-booking percentage? That's going to depend. That's going to depend on, how many stylists you have. It's going to depend on how long they've been with you. Okay, because pre-booking is a pretty sophisticated skill set for mature or client or stylists that have been doing this a while. If you've got anybody that's making a good amount of money and certainly to those $100,000 marks in your salon, it's because there's pre-booking, a high percentage of pre-booking. So let's say that a percentage of pre-booking is 70%, okay, for your high end. And maybe 50% for your mid-range, and then 25 to 30 something for your low range. Okay, you'd have to be able to look at that. You'd have to assume that the people that are in that lower bracket are probably newer stylists that are still building a clientele. The people in the middle bracket might actually be with you, have somewhat of an established clientele, but maybe don't have the skill sets, the communication, or the language to be able to go into that pre-booking conversation with their clients. Maybe they're not seeing the benefit for them or the client, and you have to make sure that the benefit applies in both manner, okay? Now, I know that you could argue the point right now and just say, my clients are scared with everything going on with COVID. They don't want to pre-book because everything's really unpredictable. I'm going to still suggest that you sell them on a future, okay? Don't sell them on what's happening currently. Sell them on the future, all right? And I mean, what? It's something happens with COVID, then you have to reschedule, okay? It's not that big of a deal. It's better to have them on the books and send them reminders that they're already booked than for them to trying to get in at the last minute when they can't get in and they want to get in, okay? So look at pre-booking as that part here that we're going to navigate your numbers. So let's look at some reports that I'm going to suggest you guys run over the next week before we meet. So here's some ideas. So year to date, I know that a lot of salons are kind of like, they're a little frightened to run this report right now, because the truth is when you have shut down for any length of time, I mean, obviously here in Georgia, we were shut down for 5 weeks, but in other areas, it might've been, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, all right? And in the case of poor California, they're still shut down with some people only had, maximum a couple weeks open before it shut down again. So you have to be able to kind of look at this year to date, but it's important that you do run this year to date, because here's what I want you to look at. So I want you to be able to see where you are down, okay? Where you're down. And what is that number? What is that number? If it's 50%, how much of that can you make up before the end of the year? Because we have to plan a strategy for the next 2 quarters to be able to close out this year strong. Not to say that you're going to be able to meet it. I mean, let's face it, we're probably not going to meet it. But in another operations course, we're going to talk about your expenses, and we're going to look at maybe what you're bringing in for sales, but what you also have eliminated as expenses that can help offset profit in there, can help offset the profit that you might be up against. So there still could be a favorable profit margin that is not attached to high sales or high cost of goods as it was pre-COVID. Okay, I want you to understand that there. Previous month to current month, is there growth happening? Are you getting clients back? Are there, because the concern right now is that stylists may feel like it's kind of slow, and they feel like, what's the point? Or I'd be making more on unemployment. Like, this is the mindset that's happening right now, because everything feels pretty flat, and your business may not be as flat as anticipated, but they may be feeling flat. They may be seeing that they're not living their life. They're not creating memories. They're not taking fun pictures of fun places that they've been to. Like, do you see where all of that stuff makes us feel alive? Well, we are sheltered more, so we're not feeling quite as alive. And so they may be feeling that that's happening in the business as well. So your numbers are going to, of course, tell the story. They're going to certainly be able to tell the story. So is there growth happening? All right. Is there growth happening? And then to be able to look at service sales top to bottom, who's exceeding in service sales and who's kind of falling behind in service sales. And can you, just based on the numbers, can you answer the questions as to why some people are doing well with their service sales and some people are not? Okay, so for an example of that would be they took additional time off. They went on vacation. They were having childcare issues, so they weren't able to work as many hours. They had a family member that they had to take care of. What are the reasons? Or they came back to work right away. They put in extra hours at this point. They've been, continuing to market to their clients or share things on Instagram with the work that they're doing. What are the things that they're doing that they have stable increased sales? What are the things that others are doing that are preventing these sales from being able to come in? All right. And then of course, service to retail. And because I'm a big fan of saying you can't just survive on services alone. You have to be able to make sure that you're creating upgraded additional services other than your main sale services. And you also need to be selling retail right now. And I'm telling you, pull the small business card out. Pull the small business card out, because that small business card says, why would you do business with other big box companies? Do business with small businesses to be able to keep us alive. Figure out ways that you can share that message compassionately, but directly, so that your clients will spend more money with you. We are not in a recession, okay? We are not in a recession. We are in a pandemic right now. Okay. And during this pandemic, a lot of people are working. Now, some are not, but a good portion of people are still working and making their full salaries, but they're not spending as much money. And the whole idea of what could put us into a recession is the lack of money flowing. So make sure that they're flowing money in your salon, and you're giving them opportunities and reasons to be able to buy more from you, and use the small business card. Say, listen, I'm a small business. I would love for you to be able to purchase your shampoo and conditioner from me versus buying it from somewhere else. It's really going to help me to continue to stay in business and provide service for this community. Okay. Say it. Say it. What can they say? Oh, no, not today. I don't need anything. But you know what? Next time I come in, I promise to buy something from you. Okay. That's all they can say. They can say no today, but there's a 50% chance that they're going to say yes as well. And again, these are profit opportunities for you guys. And then of course, be able to look at your retention booking. And this might be a little bit of a tricky one right now with COVID going on, but you can base it on pre-COVID numbers. So what is their retention rate of clients coming back to them? And then just see, how much of it is skewed since we've been in COVID time. So and you'll need to look at, what does that retention rate look like? So if you say that, here's an example. If a stylist making a good living, okay, a good living has 100 clients, and I can't say what that good living is because it may depend on your demographics, all right? They have 100 clients, all right? 100 clients is like a full-on clientele. How many of those 100 clients have come back over a 3-month period? Because we are saying clients are coming in 6 to 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, okay, depending on the services that they're getting. So over a 3-month period, how many of those 100 clients have come back in? And then that's going to determine your retention rate on there. And then of course, we talked about pre-booking, being able to look at the pre-booking numbers and supporting your clients, your team, being able to sell pre-booking, and then making sure you have systems in place, operational systems in place, that if you are pre-booking clients, that you're reminding them of their appointments, because we're all like loosey-gooseys right now, right? We don't know what day it is, and we're forgetting a lot of things that are on our calendars. Our kids are not in school. They're home with us for the most part. If you're in areas where they haven't gone back to classroom study. And so things are out of sorts and a little disconnected and disorganized right now. So make sure that you've got good systems set up to be able to remind clients of their appointments that they have at this point. So, all right, you guys. So plan your strategy. Is it a team plan? Okay. Are you kind of like creating an entire opportunity for everybody to focus in on pre-booking? Recommended. Okay. Or is it an individual plan? Is it something that you just need to maybe kind of pull your newer people aside and provide them some further education on how to successfully pre-book their clients on their calendar? So here's the expression: is there wind to even work with? Do you have the clients that can pre-book? Or is there resistance? Is there not enough clients that pre-booking is not the issue? It's new clients that you need into your salon. That's the issue. So again, what's your plan here? How are you going to increase your sales? Is it new clients? Or is it existing clients? Okay, that's it. There's only 2 ways to increase your sales. This is what I talked about in the sales clinic last week. 2 ways to increase your sales: new clients, get new clients, or sell more to the clients you already have. Okay, so you have to decide what's my strategy. Now it might be that you're putting on both those strategies, but I'm not going to recommend that. Focus on one strategy and put everything into it. Okay, focus on finding that point of sale with the wind and allow the boat to have that push-pull effect to keep momentum going forward. All right. Don't try and do 3 strategies where the boat's in all different directions and all you're doing is constantly tacking and then not getting to where you want to go. All right. How are you going to measure the results? You're going to look back at your numbers with that. Are you going to provide incentive for this increase, or is the incentive enough that everybody's doing better financially and you don't need to provide an incentive? Okay. Will there be consequences if people don't comply to these directives, these leadership directives, this push-pull strategy that you're going to put together? Are there consequences? You know, if you look at the people that may not be complying with the direction that you want to go, are they your problem people? Are they the ones that are creating most of the problems anyway? And are they people that you want to be on this ship with for the long term? Or do you need to hand them a life raft and send them on their way? Okay, this could be a good time for change and creating a new strategy of, you know, where you want your team to go and who you want to be on your team. How do you plan to move your ship forward? Again, what's that strategy? Focus on one for 90 days. Okay, while you're planning to focus on another one so that you can do it in the next 90 days. All right. And then if it's not moving forward just yet, how long can you stay afloat? So if you're not doing anything, you're not sailing forward or creating that momentum forward, and you're just floating, what are the risks that are happening? Are you going to start running into land? Is the wind pushing you into a direction that you don't want to go? Are you going backwards? All right. You have to be able to say, I got to get these sails up and I got to get this momentum going and I got to get this ship moving forward. All right. So get behind the helm, put together your strategy. Let me know how I can help you with your strategy for those of you that are part of the SOS Salon Coaching Program. And for those of you that are not part of the SOS Salon Coaching Program, please go to the website, sossaloncoaching.com, and check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. There's also a button on there that you can select to be able to set up an appointment with me one-on-one to be able to talk about what this could look like for you, or if you have any other questions to be able to do that. So how can I help? How can I help you plan for your success? Because these are crazy times right now, and I really am committed to making sure that I'm helping you for your success. All right, you guys, thanks for being here for today's operation clinic. We'll see you next week. We're going to go back into mindset, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's our title for mindset, the emotionally intelligent captain. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. All right, see you guys next week, or we'll see you in the Salon SOS coaching program.